Hello and welcome to the lecture series on Railways, Harbour, Tunneling and Airport for the subject code 18 CV 645, 6th semester, Module 1, Railway Planning, Session 1. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about introduction to all the modules, course learning objectives, course outcomes, prerequisite, and we are going to start with the module 1, importance of transportation, significance of different modes of transport, comparison of different modes of transport, and references. So, as I said, in this session, we will going to introduce different modules. So, as per the syllabus as concerned, we will going to study 5 modules with respect to different modes of transport has been concerned. Module 1 and Module 2 will going to be highlighting the surface mode of transport, that is railway. So, in the Module 1 we will going to discuss about the railway planning in detail. In Module 2 railway construction and maintenance are going to be taken for the study. So, in the Module 3 the other mode of transport, that is the water. So, in this module we will going to discuss about the harbour and tunneling. Moving on to the other mode of transport, that is the airway. So, we will going to discuss in the module 4 how the airport planning has to be carried out and the points to be considered. And in the module 5 we will going to have the different component design for the airport. So, that is airport designing. So, this is a brief introduction with respect to different modules has been taken for the study. Moving on to the module 1. So, as I discussed in the introduction, so module 1 is going to be dealt with the railway planning. So, I will just quickly read out the syllabus for this module 1. So, module 1 consists of the significance of a road, rail, air and water as the transport mode. So, it means, so we will going to discuss about very much briefly about the significance of each mode of transport has been taken into consideration. So, as in the previous semester we are already discussed the road, that is in the highway engineering. Moving on to the next topic, coordination of all modes to achieve the sustainability. So, after learning the significance of each of the mode, so it requires some coordination to achieve the sustainability. So, this is going to be taught in the second point. Next is the elements of permanent way. So, in this elements of permanent way we are going to be having a different component like rails, sleepers and the ballast. It includes the rail fixtures and the fastenings. Okay. So, the elements for this permanent way, in this railway we are going to be having different types of railways, importances and functions of railway we will going to discuss in later sessions. Similarly, for the sleepers and also the ballast. So, moving on to the next concept, that is track stresses and its importance and how do you going to calculate the track stresses. Next is the coning of a wheel and its importances, creep in detail, creep in a rails. So, in details we are going to be studying different theories, how the creep is going to be appearing, remedial measures for the creep. So, that we are going to be discussed in the topic creep in rails. Moving on to the next concept, defect in a rail. So, what are the different types of defects that are usually occurring in the rail that are going to be discussed. Moving on to the next topic, it is a route alignment survey. It deals with the alignment survey procedures used for the construction of or the alignment of rail network. So, in this we are going to be discussing the conventional method of surveying and also the modern method of surveying. Moving on to the next concept, that is a soil suitability analysis. So, as we know that, so whatever the track we are going to be construction is going to be laid on the soil, that is the native soil or the earth. So, from that point of view, the soil suitability analysis, what are the tests to be conducted to say the soil is going to be suitable for the construction. So, that we are going to be discuss in this topic, soil suitability analysis. Moving on to the next topic, that is a geometric design of railways. So, as once the alignment is going to be over, so actually the actual geometrics with respect to the speed are going to be designed. So, in this geometric design of railway, we are going to be deal with types of gradient and their importances, super elevation or the cant and the design problems. Next is the widening of a gauge and its importances, and the last topic is points and crossing. So, as per the syllabus, only the explanation and sketches for the right hand and left hand turnouts we are going to be discussing in details. So, in a nutshell, the module 1 is going to be having a significance, and it starts with different mode, and we are going to be having the alignment and the geometric. So, all these are going to be covered in module number 1. So, moving to the module number 2. So, once we studied the importance and the alignment, so the actual construction are going to be considered in the module 2. So, after construction we need to take care about the maintenance. Hence, in the module 2 we are going to be discussing few of the topic related to railway construction and maintenance, namely earthwork, stabilization of a track on poor soil. So, as we know that, so while we are going to be having a alignment, so the soil is going to be variable with respect to the different changes. Suppose if you are going to be come across with a poor soil, that is strength is lesser according to the specifications or the standards. So, how we are going to be stabilize the track? So, that topic we are going to be concerned in this module. Moving on to the next bit, that is a calculation of material required for the track laying. So, we know already what are the components for the permanent way. So, those individual component calculations are going to be taken into account with respect to railway construction. Moving on to the maintenance part. So, in the maintenance of a track, we are going to be having a modern method of construction and maintenance. So, what are the techniques or the equipments we are going to be using it for the construction of a railway track? Hence, we are going to be discussing what are the modern method of construction and also the maintenance part. So, next, after construction and maintenance, we are going to be studying a few more railway component, namely the railway station, what exactly meant by the station and its importances, types of railway stations are going to be dealt in this topic. Similarly, railway yards and passenger amenities. So, as we are known construction and maintenance, so some more advanced topic with respect to railways are also going to be discussed, namely the rail infrastructures like metro, mono and underground railways. So, as we know in the module 1, so we can expect the theory questions with respect to module number 1 and few questions with respect to geometrical design and super elevation has been concerned according to the syllabus. Moving on to the module 2, so it is entirely theory, only the numerical problem is calculation of materials required for the track laying. So, this is the only numerical bit we can expect it from the module 2. Moving on to the module 3, so as said it in the introduction, so module 3 is with respect to the waterway has been taken into consideration. So, the title is going to be harbor and tunneling. So, in this model we are going to start with different definitions of the basic terms we are regularly using for the harbor. Next is the planning and design. So, how are you going to plan and design the different components of harbor? Requirement, so that is the site requirement for the construction of an harbor, and how do you going to classify the harbor based on location and design. So, once again we are going to be expecting the theory bit. So, try to take care. So, whenever I said the theory, so representatives need sketches are going to be having weightages with respect to the questions and the answer has been concerned. Moving on to the next topic, the principles of harbor layout and terminal facility, coastal structures, inland water transport, wave action on coastal structure and its protection work. So, usually we know that, so the coastal protection work is going to be one more important topic. So, we are going to be discussing the different methods which are going to be used for coastal protection work. So, all these are going to be studied in harbor. Moving on to the next bit, that is a tunneling. So, we are going to be introduce the importance of a tunneling, advantages and disadvantages, the types and sizes, shapes of the tunnel, and where we are going to be use the different sizes and shapes of tunneling in the actual construction, and tunneling method in soft soils and hard rock. So, we are going to be discussing what are the construction methods used in the tunneling. So, next is the tunnel lining, its importances and what are the different methods of tunnel lining, and tunnel drainage and ventilation. So, this is going to be important from the examination point of view. So, moving to the module 4. So, as I said it in the introduction, so module 4 is going to be with respect to other mode of transport, that is air. So, we are going to be start with airport planning. So, first topic is going to be air transport characteristics. So, what are the characteristics, or it is going to be having some identical features with respect to as compared to other modes. So, that is we are going to be dealt with air transport characteristic. Next is the classification, then airport planning, objectives and different components of an airport, then layout characteristics, socio-economic characteristics for a catchment area, criteria for airport site selection. So, that is a site selection based on regional planning and as also ICAO recommendations, and typical airport layouts. So, there will be a different types of layout, so that we are going to be taken with respect to this topic, and lastly parking and circulation. So, once again the module number 4 is also going to be a theory. So, we can expect the theory bit or the theory questions in this module number 4. Moving on to the module number 5. So, there is a airport design. So, in the previous module we learned the components of an airport. So, in this module the design part we are going to be discuss. First one is the runway. So, actual runway, how we are going to orient. So, what are the components to be considered with respect to design of actual runway and design runway. So, wind-rose diagram. So, how do you going to orient the runway? So, that is based on the wind characteristic. So, that we are going to be analyze with respect to wind-rose diagram. Then runway length, there is a problems on basic and actual runway length calculation. Geometrical design of a runway. So, configuration and pavement design principles, elements of taxiway and design. So, airport zones, passenger facilities to be provided, and marking and lighting. So, in this module we are going to be having a numerical problem on runway design as well as also the taxiway design, and rest of the thing is once again the theory. So, this is a very brief introduction about all the modules starting from module 1 to module 5. So, moving on to the course learning objective. So, why do you take this course and what is going to be learned during this entire study of this railway, harbor and tunnel and airport? So, the students or the learner will understand the history and development of the roles played by the railways in planning and designing based on the essential criteria. So, we are going to be having some different histories and how it is been developed till date with respect to rail as a mode of transport. And also the learner will identify the different types of structural component, engineering properties of a material that is used for the actual construction, and they are also going to be learn the methods or the quantity calculation which is required for the construction of rail network. The learner will also understand the various aspects of a geometrical element, and also the points and crossing, and also they will understand the role or the significance of maintenance of a track. Moving on to the next one, the learner will also understand the design features of the tunnel and harbor and their geometrical designs and necessary navigational aid which are going to be required for the safer operation of the ships in the harbor, and also they will expose to various methods of tunneling and accessories. And lastly, the learner will understand the concept of a designing, planning and layout of an airport, design facilities which are required for the runway, taxiway, and also they will impart the knowledge about the visual aids for the safer operation of an airport. So, these are going to be the course learning objective. So, obviously, after completion of this course, the learner will have these following outcomes. So, they will acquire knowledge and they have capability of choosing the best alignment, and also they will design the geometrical aspect with respect to railways and airport or the harbor or the tunnel. So, they are going to be acquiring a good knowledge and they will control and take a decision for giving a best alignment among the chosen one. So, the learner will also going to suggest and they will estimate the material required for the construction of a railway or the hauling capacity of a locomotive which is required for the towing of an rail coaches or the wagons. They will also going to be having development of a plans for all the geometrical elements with respect to airport, harbor and a dock has been concerned. Also, which type of an visual aids or the navigational aids which are going to be provided for the layout of an airport, harbor or a dock. They will gain and know the surveying principle which are going to be conducted for the actual alignment, and they will also know what are the sequence of operation for the actual construction of tunneling activity. So, moving on to the prerequisites. So, as we know that we are going to be having set some learning objective and a course outcome. So, we require some basic prerequisite. So, the learner should have some knowledge about the surveying and its principle and the equipment, and also they should know some of the basic concept of transportation engineering, knowledge about geotechnical engineering and geology. So, as we know that, so surveying and construction is going to be involved with respect to surveying principle, geotechnique and geology. Hence, a learner should possess some prerequisite before having this course, that is railway, harbor, tunneling and airport. So, now we are going to start with module 1. So, after having a brief introduction about all the module, so we will going to start with the module 1. So, I think I already explained the detailed syllabus for this module 1. So, moving on to the topic, the importance of transportation. So, as we learnt, transportation is a widespread network. It keeps alive by moving a goods or the passenger. So, we can say a goods or the cargo or person or the passenger will move with a overspread of a network or well connected network. So, this transportation will going to give ideas or the exchange of ideas, literature, culture and research, and mobilize and infuse a new life to the society. So, this is the importance of transportation. So, without having the transportation, the life is going to be a standstill or it is going to be stagnant and settled. So, there is no exchange of culture or literature or a new idea. So, hence the transportation is much needed to have a connectivity from all the aspect of our life. The other vital role of a transportation is during the war. So, it is going to be from the strategic purpose. So, as we know, so for the movement of artilleries, so that is a goods, and also the army person, that is a passenger or persons we are going to be moving. So in the critical situations like the war, hence the transportation is going to be important from the strategic aspect also. So as we say that transportation, we are going to be having a different modes of transport. So just I had to have a tree here, so I had just made in a different colors to give an idea about the modes of transport. The first one is the surface mode. So as I said, the surface, that is on the earth, as a mode of transport, so that the surface we are going to be having two broader classification. One is a railway and another one is a roadway. So this roadway we are going to be called as an highway engineering, that is already dealt in the previous semester in the highway engineering. So in this semester we are systematically studying the railway engineering. So moving on to the next mode, that is going to be the water. So that is with respect to harbor has been concerned. So in the water we are going to be having two types broadly, inland and ocean. So as and when we are coming across this term, I am going to explain these two terms. Moving on to the next mode, in the air we are going to be having two criteria or two classification. One is in domestic, or we are going to be called as a national, and another one is going to be called as an international. So apart from these main three modes of transport, we are also going to be having a different mode that is called as an others. So in the other mode, just have conveyor belt, that is also a mode of transport, the ropeway, that is also a mode of transport. Next is an escalator, lifts and pipe. So all these are going to be clubbed and classified under the heading others. So if you are interested, we can have some what we say examples with respect to the surface mode in the roadway. So what are the different types of vehicle we are going to be moving? So in the surface mode we can say cars are moving, okay, two-wheelers are moving, auto rickshaws are moving. Then we can say if we say a non-motorized vehicle, bicycles are moving, buses, trucks, okay. So like this we are going to be having a different types of a vehicle category which are moving on the roadway, okay. So apart from this, so we know that in the railway, so railways we are going to be having only the train. So only the trains are going to be moving in the railway has been taken into account. The trains are going to be moving, so it may be passenger train or it may be what to say the cargo, or it is going to be the trains only. So this is the different types of vehicles we are going to be moving in the surface mode, that is roadway and railway. So moving on to the water, so in this water as a mode of transport, so we are going to be having a inland. So in the inland, so we can say some ferry boats, okay. So we can say some ferry boats, so of a smaller size, we can move it in the inland water. So in the ocean, so we can say ships, okay, we can say ships, or otherwise we can say vessels. So these two are going to be moving. This is the vehicles we are moving in the water has been concerned. So moving on to the other mode, that is in air. So it may be domestic or international. We are going to be having airplanes, okay. So we are going to be having airplanes, okay. So those are going to be of different sizes. So maybe of 80 or 72, or it may be a Boeing. So those are going to be vehicles we are going to moving in air. So apart from airplane, so we can also expect, so what is going to be called as an helicopters. So those are also going to be there, but for the syllabus we are concerned about the airplanes and airports only. Moving on to the other one, so conveyor belt. So conveyor belt is nothing but, so we are going to be move a material in industry with rollers and a belt. So whatever the material or the parcel we are going to be put, so through this ruler, so it is moved from one point to another point, so that is going to be called as a conveyor belt. So next one is a ropeway. So ropeway we had seen in the movies or in the pictures. So from the highest elevation point, or we are going to be tied a rope, okay, so through some station points or the tower. So we are going to be having some containers like this, so that is going to be called as a ropeway. So that is also another mode of transport, that is called as an ropeway. Next is an escalators and a lift, and last one is a pipe. So in the natural gases or the water or whatever the liquid materials which is going to be passed, so that is also a mode of transport, hence we are going to take pipe as other mode of transport. So apart from this, we are going to be having some other modes, so it is going to be having a dual category, so that are going to be taken into others category. So whatever the examples I have quoted is very few for the better understanding of mode of transport. So just I will quickly brush out. So major, we are going to be classifying the mode of transport will be surface, water and the air. So moving on to the surface mode, that is the roadway. So we are going to be having highlighted the first significance of a road transport will be dealt with the economic development, secondly with the social development, third is the spatial development, and fourth is cultural, and fifth one going to be political. So moving on to the first one, that is the economic development. So as we know that a well connected road network is going to be giving a link between the different places, it may be from the production and also the consumption, like agricultural field to a industry and a labor and a market. So whatever the link it is going to be provided, it is going to be boost up our economic, hence from the economic prosperity, the road transport is going to be always well connected. Moving on to the social development. So as the word itself indicates, it facilitates the social mobility and interrelationships. So it provides interaction with a different societal sectors, and it promotes interrelationship and enables movement for the education of different sectors of our society, like health sector, recreational and religious functions. So this is the second important point with respect to social development. Moving on to the spatial development. So as we know that if a well connected road network is going to be there, it induces the area development in the housing, that is a residential. It also going to boost up the industrial areas, institutions, different types of institutions, it may be education or different types of institutions. Next is it going to build up the infrastructure, consequently the activity and the investment is started flowing. So this is with respect to spatial development has been concerned. Moving on to the cultural. So as we know that there will be a cultural exchange if you are going to be providing a very good connectivity. So it cultivates civilization and urbanization, education and also the enlightenment. Moving on to the political importance. So it promotes national unity and integrity. It strengthens the national defense and helps maintaining the inter-law and order, and promotes international political relationship. So these are few of the significance of road transport. Moving on to the next surface mode, that is a rail as a mode of transport. So it also going to connect, but as concerned road is going to be point to point connection is going to be possible, whereas in railway it only integrates the fragmented market. It connects the point to point, it is not going to be connected, but it connects the major cities for the market has been concerned. It concerned about industrial production and also the market, which are going to be the raw material, and also it facilitates for the complete industrial development. So that is called as an industrial corridor. Moving on to the next point or the significance of rail, it also links with agriculture production centers. Next is going to be, that is a APMC or a mega market, and also the distance market as a source for essential input and providing for the rapid agricultural growth. So, that is with respect to export policies has been concerned. It also provides a rapid and reliable and cost effective for the bulk transport with respect to energy. So, that is a energy sector has been concerned, that is say for production of electricity we require some coal. So, from the coal field, if we are going to be having rail network connectivity, so the energy plants are going to be directly connected. Similarly, petroleum and refineries from the consumption center or production centers directly. It also links with the places with the larger scales or the larger populations. So, it is going to be somewhat rapid because there is no hindrance or a mixed traffic has been taken into consideration. It is also a low cost movement for the peoples to move across length and breadth of a country as compared to the road. So, next one, it is going to be a national integration, and also it is going to be defense preparedness with respect to rail as mode of transport has been concerned. Moving on to the air as a mode of transport. So, compared to the road and railway, it is going to be rapid. It means connectivity between the two stations is going to be lesser travel time, and it is going to be rapid in journey. There is no breakages in the journey, hence the air is going to be continuous and it is going to be accessible. It is going to be the fastest mode with respect to the speed has been concerned with respect to rail or a road. So, it is capable of navigating continuously over the obstacles like a mountain or the oceans without any break. So, obstruction also it can have a fly because it is in a higher altitude, no obstructions, but wind and climatic conditions are going to be somewhat obstruction. It is also capable of assessing in a remote area like forest where we can't reach it by the rail. So, and also in the snow cover areas or the mountains, so we can assess it at the higher altitude. Next is the water as a mode of transport. The significance is going to be dealt with respect to the cargo. So, whenever we are going to be having an export or a import, we are going to be having a bulk. So, the bulk cargo for a longer distance, always the water is going to be the cheapest one. So, hence the main significance of a water is always going to be taken for the cargo movement. Next is the export and import duty is also going to be helpful for the growth of a nation. Indirectly, it is going to be boost up the GDP of the nation. It also helps in strategic situations. So, as we know that, so our India is going to be covered with a larger portion of a water. So, we can have a plenty of opportunities with respect to the transport for a bulk cargo, and also we need a situation for strategy. So, that is from the defense. So, this is also going to be important. So, as we learnt the importances of a different modes or the significance of a different modes of a transport. So, now we are going to compare one mode of transport with respect to other. So, beginning with the surface mode. In the surface, as I explained, so in the surface we are going to be having a two types. So, one is a roadway and another one is going to be railway. So, always keep it in mind. So, when we say comparison or it is going to be character difference, try to have a tabular column, item or the characteristic, compare the first item and second item. So, this is going to be the standard method of comparing the two elements. So, in this case, the item or the characteristics we are going to be concerned. First one is going to be the accident rate. So, just we know, as I explained with respect to the roadway, we are going to be having a mixed mode of traffic. So, the accident rates are going to be higher or more because we are going to be having a collision between the pedestrian and a car or a two-wheeler with a bus or etc. etc. Hence, the accident rate in roadways is going to be more. So while compared to the railway, so it is going to be fewer because only it is been having a dedicated corridor. So it may be of a collision or derailment is going to be causing the accident, hence we are expecting the rate of occurrence is going to be lower. I can't say the accident is not going to be happen, accidents are bound to happen, so but the rate of occurrences are going to be lower. Moving on to the next characteristic point, that is a construction cost and maintenance cost. So that is initial investment for the project construction and lifetime maintenance cost as roadways is going to be somewhat lower, whereas in the railway it is going to be at higher because of different elements or the components is required to be maintained in a periodic and also with respect to some time bound maintenance practices or routine or periodic one. Moving on to the cost of transportation. So per kilometer, what is going to be the cost that is going to be incurred? So in the roadway it is going to be more, so whereas compared to the railway it is going to be somewhat cheaper as compared to longer distances of journey, not for the shorter distance. When you compare for a longer distance of a journey, say for example in the roadway if you travel by a bus, that is an ordinary or express bus, the cost per kilometer might be around 1 rupee or a 1.5 rupee per kilometer. So hardly it is going to be half of it or 1/3 of it as compared to the roadway. Moving on to the employment potentiality. So roadway requires more employment, so that is with respect to employment creations with respect to roadway. Similarly, railway is going to be a cater less, so there is an different schools of thought. So railways are going to be giving more employment, so that is an allied employment if you are going to be taken into consideration. So that might be a correct, but there is a different schools of thought. But so according to the usual practices of employment, directly it is going to be producing, so roadways are going to be the same thing. So moving on to the gradient, so steeper gradients can be provided. So as we know, the vehicular length are going to be say some 6 meters or 8 meters, so that easily they can make over the steeper gradient for the maneuvering purpose. Whereas in railway we are having a different number of coaches, so it is as it carries a heavier load and it has to move at a higher speed, so we need to restrict some of the gradients for the movement of railways. So next is in a hilly area, so roadways are always suitable because as we know the gradients are being taken and speed is being concerned. Similarly in railways somewhat not suitable, but we can make it suitable if provided the gradients are according to our design norms. Similarly, the horsepower of a engine which is required for pulling of the vehicle. So as we know the roadways for heavier loads it requires more horsepower engine to pull over the load. So as the engine capacities of a locomotive in a railways are going to be higher and higher, so it can easily pull over or push over the different containers of different weights of the locomotives. Next is the length of haul, so that is the journey if you are going to be concerned. For shorter journey always roadway is going to be the best. For longer journey as we know it is going to be railways is better. Similarly, the load hauling capacity is somewhat limited, say for 2 axle trucks it is going to be carrying around 10.2 tons or it is going to be multi-axle it is going to be around 25 tons. So that is a limitation over the roadways has been concerned, but heavy consignment can also move with respect to higher speed at railways. Similarly, coming to the maintenance point, roadways are going to be occasionally maintained, but it also have some routine and periodic maintenance also. But whereas in a railways it requires a constant maintenance, on the other hand a slight change in the distance may also going to be having a serious derailment or serious accident. So that is with respect to maintenance. So next is the operational controls. So in the roadway there is no rigid controls, okay. So there is no rigid controls, we are going to be having a not an access control, no signal lights. So only at a congested area or it is going to be required. So in that particular area only we are going to be having the control system that is not rigid, but whereas in case of railway, a systematic signaling is going to be required for move of a train from one station to another station, and also interlocking has been concerned. Hence, for the operational control, it is signals and interlocking are going to be necessary for the safer operation of a railway network. Next is the right of entry. So right of entry is going to be the ease of ingress and egress to the roadway is not going to be free for all one. So it is actually free, but whereas in case of a railway, it is not free to all, because only railways can move. So we can't expect cars or two-wheelers to move on the railway. So hence, as we know, different categories of a vehicle can move at a different speed only in case of roadways. Moving on to the suitability. So roadways are going to be as per the need of the customer, so we can suitably. So rails are with respect to specific purpose. Next is the tractive resistance. So that is the engine capacity which is required for the hauling of a vehicle with respect to all the resistance taken into consideration. It requires 5 to 6 times as compared to the railways, whereas it is 1/5 to 1/6. So use. So how we are going to be using it? So as I explained, we can expect the usage for the roadway. We can have both motorized and non-motorized vehicle. It can be use it. Only restriction is going to be reserved for the trains in case of railways. Moving on to the next item, that is a width of right of way. So in the roadway it requires more, railway it requires less, depending upon the type of gauge we are using it. So in this chart we are going to be having a characteristics difference between a different modes of transportation. So in the previous slide we are discussing only the surface mode of transport, that is a rail and road. So now we are going to be open up with all the modes of transport for the characteristic difference. So first character is going to be the carriageway. So highways, so different modes of can use the carriageway. Sorry. In the railways, dedicated lines are considered. So once again it depends upon the selected gauge. It may be a broad gauge or a meter gauge, or it may be of a narrow gauge. So in the waterway there is no carriageway, so it depends upon the width of the ship or the drift it is going to be operating in the waterway. So airway we are not going to be having a carriageway, so we are having a concept of runway and taxiway. Moving on to the next characteristic, right of access. So highways, as I said, it is a flexible, any vehicle or mode can operate. So there is a restriction as in case of railway. So in the water there is no restriction for access. So different sizes of capacities of ships can be operated. Moving on to the airway, so it is been totally controlled. So only through the signals and the safety. So it is been once again right of access is being controlled. Moving on to the next gradient, we can provide up to the steeper gradient 1 in 30 in case of highway, whereas in case of railways generally flatter not more than 1 in 100 are going to be provided. So there is no question of a gradient in waterways. So moving on to the geometrical design concept. So highways, the speed is going to be a major role. Our design speed is going to be controlling all the geometrical aspect. It may be radius, curve, super elevations or side distance. So hence geometrical design elements are based on the speed or design speed. Next is railways, it is also geometrical design. So it is going to be curves are also going to be designed. So apart from that one, the number of joints, fixtures and fastening are also going to be taken. So in the waterway there is no question of a geometrics only. So this question of geometrics arrives near the harbor, that is going to be the stations. So or the dock, that is going to be designed according to the geometry, that is the orientation width and length it is going to be required. Whereas in case of airway, the geometrical concept we are applying for the runway and a taxiway. So that is a curve deflection angle, so longitudinal gradient or a transverse gradient. So those concepts we are going to be applied in case of design of runways and taxiway. Moving on to the load capacity or load carrying capacity. So as I explained in the previous slides also, so highways are going to be the lowest one. Moderate with respect to higher speed, it is going to be railway. So heavier capacity and approximately for bulk, so always waterway is the best. So quicker transport and heavier transport, airways is going to be the best. Moving on to the speed, lowest speed is going to be measured with a highway, because we can expect on an average 60 to 80 km per hour because of a mixed traffic or geometrics, or depending upon the site or a terrain condition. Whereas in a railway we can expect minimum of 50 km per hour to say around 120 to 130 kilometers per hour. So next is going to be the waterway, it is going to be the slowest, so we can measure it in a nautical miles. So next is the airway, so always it's going to be some 300 to 400 kilometers per hour depending upon the type of airplane we are been using it. So moving on to the some more characteristics, so just I will quickly brush it out. The cost of construction, so it's going to be moderate in case of highway. Similarly in case of railway it is going to be higher, so that is because of different types of fixtures and components has been concerned. So construction cost is somewhat least, or we can say no, because of a waterway, because water is already there. So except the construction at the land side, so that is a land area, so that is a least one. So no cost as construction, because the airplanes are moving at the air, except the airport components has been taken into consideration. Moving on to the maintenance cost, so is a moderate in case of highways and higher view in the point of railways because of number of joints and fixtures and fastening. Waterway, as I said, is going to be minimal. So minimal means, so as we know, regular dredging has to be taken to maintain the drift of a water, so that's what it's going to be minimal. Moving on to the airway, so it is a gill, but routine maintenance for the runway and taxiway has to be concerned. Similarly for the operational cost, so as we know, depending upon the attractive force or resistance, we can have category from lower to higher and C in the extreme high in case of airway because of navigational facility and air fuel. So that's what the cost of operation is going to be a little bit higher. Then change of line or a track, so as I said, in highway it is somewhat flexible, so it's not possible in case of railways, because it is a fixed or a guided path, it has to move only with respect to the track, that is the thing. Moving on to the accident, so as I explained, very high in a frequency of occurrence in the highway because of mixed mode, and railway relatively lesser, but high intensity are going to be taken. So waterway there is a lower frequency and intensity is, suppose if it is going to be bound to happen, it is a disastrous because of its bulk nature and its number of containers it has been carrying. Suppose if anything goes wrong, so obviously there is a disastrous accidents are going to be taken place in case of waterway. So intensity of a crash, it is going to be disastrous as compared to other modes. Similarly, few more things are there. There is a energy requirement, so just glance over it. So next is accessibility. So this is an important point. So highways are always going to be providing door-to-door service. So this is the only mode of transport providing this facility. So none other mode are going to be there. So all other mode depend upon the surface mode or the highway. So that is with respect to accessibility point of view. So those are the things of characteristics differences. So in the examination point of view, so those things are also going to be important for the characteristic difference between the surface mode or with respect to other modes of transport. So we studied the significances and different characteristics. So how do you choose the mode of transport? So the selection is going to be having a different criteria. First one is going to be the length of a haul, that is what is the journey distance we are going to be making it. So weight and size of a consignment, so that is with respect to how much tonnage of a weights we are going to be carry from one station to another station. What is the size of a consignment we are been moving it, traffic density, nature of a route, and quality of a service we are been expecting. So these are going to be deciding factor to have a choice or the mode of transportation is going to be concerned. So for this sessions we are referred the following references, that is Saxena Subhash C and Satyapal Arora for the course of railway engineering, Satish Chandra and Agarwal MM for railway engineering, that is the second edition, Oxford University Press. Apart from this we are also referred a few of the points with respect to web reference, that is Wikipedia for few of the things. Okay, with respect to this, so I will thank for this session. So few more points are going to be taken into think with respect to next session.